The U.S. is sending a large force of its powerful F-22 stealth fighter jets to the Western Pacific as tensions with China increase daily. The move is seen as a warning to China to curb its aggressive actions around Taiwan and in the South China Sea. Here are the details. CNN reports that the U.S. Air Force is sending an unusually large force of F-22 stealth fighters to the Western Pacific this month. Approximately 25 F-22s will be joined by 10 F-15 fighters and support planes, as part of an exercise that is meant to send a strong message to China amid growing tensions about China's actions around Taiwan and in the South China Sea. The exercise is designed to spread U.S. combat planes out among airfields across the region to increase their chances of surviving enemy missile strikes. Much of the U.S.'s air power in the Western Pacific is concentrated in two large military installations on Okinawa and Guam. A strike on those bases could cripple the U.S. military's ability to hit back if too much U.S. air power was concentrated there. The new exercise will see crews practicing from smaller, less developed airfields on Guam and islands like Tinian. The new strategy would increase the number of targets enemy missiles would need to destroy and give U.S. air power a better chance of being able to fight back. Like the F-35, the F-22 is a fifth-generation combat jet, which is currently the most advanced class of fighter aircraft in the world. These planes incorporate stealth technologies and connect onboard sensor systems with off-board information systems to give their pilots a detailed view of the battle space. Newsweek reports that China is increasing its pressure on Taiwan and the Biden administration with an aggressive new tactic. Taiwan's military showed that on March 29th, 10 Chinese warplanes invaded Taiwanese airspace to the island's south and west, while Japan reports that another 2 Chinese planes cut through its southern airspace to skirt Taiwan's eastern airspace. A Taiwanese official said that the move was designed to practice cutting Taiwan off from Japanese and American intervention if China carries through on its threats to invade Taiwan. This latest incursion saw 4 Chinese J-16 fighters and 4 J-10 fighters entering Taiwan's air defense zone in the southeast, together with a KJ-500 control plane. A Y-8 anti-submarine plane was also tracked flying all the way from the southeast to the southwest of the zone. Japan also tracked 2 Chinese Y-9 planes, one of which turned to fly along the eastern border of Taiwan's air defense zone. CNN reports that analysts are calling out China's secret maritime militia as it gets increasingly aggressive in its efforts to push other Asian nations out of the South China Sea. China denies that the militia exists, but Western analysts say a quick study of these so-called fishing boats show that they form an integral part of China's military actions. These boats are often huge by fishing boat standards, and they never seem to catch any fish. They have automatic weapons aboard and reinforced hulls, making them very dangerous at close range. With top speeds of around 18 to 22 knots, they are also faster than 90% of the world's fishing boats. Analysts say China is using these weaponized boats to protect large flotillas of normal Chinese fishing boats. In this way, they can quickly bring hundreds of Chinese fishing boats to any disputed island, a flotilla so large that it can't be challenged without triggering a military confrontation. Last month, more than 200 Chinese fishing boats crowded around Whitsun Reef for weeks. Whitsun Reef is a major fishing ground and part of the Philippines' territorial waters. China is throwing a tantrum over a visit to Taiwan by another high-level U.S. official. Here's what you need to know. 2 Chinese aircraft flew into Taiwanese airspace on Wednesday, September 16th. The incursion came in advance of Thursday's visit to Taiwan by Undersecretary of State Keith Krach, the highest-ranking U.S. cabinet member to visit Taiwan since 1979. 2 Shangxi Y-8 anti-submarine aircraft briefly entered Taiwan's air defense identification zone early on Wednesday, the Defense Ministry said on Thursday. Taiwan deployed fighter jets and issued radio warnings to ward off the Chinese planes. Also on Wednesday, a Chinese warship sailed just 24 nautical miles from Taiwan's east coast before it disappeared early Thursday morning, Taiwan Central News Agency reported. And on Tuesday, China fired a Long March 11 HY-2 rocket over Taiwan from a platform in the Yellow Sea, according to the Chinese state-affiliated Global Times. China has dramatically escalated incursions into Taiwanese airspace in recent weeks. On September 9th, 30 Chinese fighter planes and 7 Chinese warships conducted joint air and sea exercises in Taiwan's southwestern air defense identification zone, Taiwan Central News Agency reported. Undersecretary of State Keith Krach is expected to discuss weapons sales during his time in Taiwan. According to reports in the New York Times and Reuters, the Trump administration is pushing the sale of 7 major weapon systems, including cruise missiles Taiwan could fire from its F-16s to hit targets in China. The The New York Times identified 5 of the weapon systems in a recent report. These are the AGM-84HK Slammer, an air-launched cruise missile, surveillance drones based on an unarmed version of the Reaper, a truck-based rocket artillery system made by Lockheed Martin, land-based Harpoon anti-ship missiles, and sea mines. Some people shout when they get mad. Others repress their anger for years and go quietly insane. It all really depends on what works best for you as an individual. China, for instance, has invented its own unique method of releasing tension. Whenever it's feeling frustrated with the world, or something doesn't go its way, it threatens Taiwan with military force. Yesterday, in response to the G7's moderate expression of support for Taiwan, it broke its own record for incursions into Taiwan's airspace. Here's what you need to know. 28 Chinese military aircraft entered Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, or ADIZ, on Tuesday, according to Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense, a record since Taiwan began publicly noting Chinese incursions, according to Taiwan Central News Agency. 3 groups of aircraft flew all the way to the southeastern side of Taiwan, a maneuver Newsweek suggests could be rehearsing cutting off Taiwan from U.S. support in the event of an invasion. In total, these groups included 1 Y-8 anti-submarine plane, 4 H-6 twin-engine jet bombers, 4 J-16 twin-jet, multi-role fighters, and 1 Y-8 electronic warfare aircraft. 3 additional groups of aircraft flew in the airspace between Taiwan and the Taiwan-controlled Dongsha Islands. In total, these included 2 KJ-500 airborne early warning and control planes, 10 additional J-16 twin-jet, multi-role fighters, and 6 J-11 twin-jet multi-role fighters. In recent weeks, Chinese pressure on Taiwan has slackened off after air incursions peaked in mid-April, according to Twitter updates by Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense. The previous record for incursions was set in mid-April, with 25 aircraft flying into Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone. Tuesday's escalation could be seen as a response to a G7 communique made last week. It emphasized the importance of peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait and encouraged the peaceful resolution of cross-strait issues. Former Taiwan Defense Minister Andrew Yang supported this view, telling Taiwan Central News Agency the incursions could be seen as demonstrations of China's ability to carry out joint maneuvers, while also signaling to the international community that it will not retreat over sovereignty issues. Internally, one senior analyst at the government-funded Taiwanese Institute for National Defense and Security Research added that the PLA's maneuvers could be an attempt to appease militarily inclined groups and nationalists in China. So where does China go from here? Well, Beijing maintains that Taiwan is its territory and there are increasing reasons to think it would use military force to gain control of it. An article in Foreign Affairs magazine cites conversations with various academics in claiming that Chinese President Xi Jinping wants the acquisition of Taiwan to be part of his legacy. The same article cites a Global Times survey of Chinese people, which says that 70% strongly support using force to unify Taiwan with China, and 37% think it would be best if the war occurred in between 3 and 5 years from now. So, is an invasion imminent? Of course, no one knows for sure, but at the very least, according to Foreign Affairs magazine, calls for armed unification are building within China's ruling party. A lot may depend on exactly how firm China believes the U.S.'s commitment to Taiwan is. MIT analyzed the infamous chaos hack that targeted iPhones and found evidence suggesting the Chinese government is using civilian hacking competitions to find new hacks for its strategic hacking program, saying that China seemed to have used such a hack as part of its genocidal strategy to erase its Muslim minority. Here are the details. MIT's Technology Review magazine recently analyzed the infamous chaos hack that targeted iPhones in 2018, suggesting that China used a civilian competition to create the hack and then used it to spy on its Uyghur Muslim minority. The U.S. accuses China of committing genocide against its Uyghur population. The magazine linked the hack to a statement made in 2017 by the CEO of the Chinese cybersecurity giant Qihu 360 when he said Chinese hackers should stop participating in international hacking competitions, as such competitions give tech companies the chance to fix the hacks before China could use it to spy on people. The Chinese government agreed, forbidding its hackers to participate in such competitions. The next year, the first Tianfu Cup competition was held in China, where citizens are forced by law to help Chinese spy agencies. The magazine says that U.S. officials and tech companies later found that the prize-winning hack at that Tianfu Cup was very similar to the hack used later that year to infiltrate iPhones used by Uyghurs. For the past 7 years, China has committed human rights abuses against the Uyghur people and other minority groups in the western province of Xinjiang. While documented aspects of the campaign include detention camps, systemic compulsory sterilization, organized torture and rape, forced labor, and an unparalleled surveillance effort, the US and a number of other countries have called the actions a genocide.
For more news animations and explainers, hit the subscribe and bell button to join the TomoNews family. Thanks for watching.